Welcome back. In this video, I'll share 10 powerful tips that you can immediately apply in Conflict of Nations to drastically improve your gameplay, boost your kill-to-death ratio, and increase your win rate. With that said, let's start with the first tip. The first tip is to spy on your enemies for free using newspaper articles. With these articles, you can see what units your enemies are building, what units they have lost, where their positions are, and even what they might be researching. To use this tip, simply click on the newspaper icon and search for the country you want to spy on. Once you've selected the country, you will be able to see detailed information about them, including their casualties, positions, economy, and more. You can also scroll through or change the day to gather additional intelligence. Additionally, if a notification appears stating that a country is researching warheads, this means they are developing missiles. In this case, you should start building theater missile defense systems to protect yourself from potential attacks. This tip is completely free and perfect for spying on your enemies or other nations across the map. Use it to gain an advantage and stay ahead of your opponents. Additionally, you should use this information to build counters. For example, if you notice that other nations are heavily investing in their air force, you should start building mobile SAM launchers to counter them effectively. Awesome! Now, let's talk about the second tip, which will massively enhance your gameplay. The second tip is to use recruiting offices whenever possible, as they offer 3 major benefits. First, they speed up unit mobilization time. For example, if a unit normally takes 10 hours to build, adding a level 1 recruiting office can reduce that time to about 9 hours. If you fully upgrade the office to level 5, that same unit will only take around 5 hours to mobilize. As you can see, this lets you mobilize units twice as fast as your opponent, giving you a huge edge. Second, recruiting offices provide a flat manpower bonus, which is especially helpful early in the game when manpower is often tight. If you build a level 1 recruiting office in each of your 6 cities, you will receive 1,200 manpower in total, 200 per city. If you upgrade those to level 2, the bonus increases to 400 per city, and so on up to 1,000 extra manpower per city at level 5. Multiply that across all your cities, and the manpower boost becomes massive. Thirdly, upgrading your recruiting offices also lets you build more advanced units, such as officers, which can have a game-changing impact. However, a quick warning, don't spam build these buildings, especially early on, as they can drain your resources quickly. Make sure you are managing your economy properly to get the most out of this strategy. Consider checking out our economy video for more on that. Awesome. With that said, let's move on to the third tip. The third tip I have for you is to utilize agents. There are 3 types of agents and they all have massive benefits. For example, if you use intelligence agents and send them to other countries, then you will get intelligence and reports of what the other countries are building, researching, and even their chats and message logs with other countries. As you can imagine, this helps you anticipate and predict many attacks. If you are suspicious that your coalition is plotting against you, then just send intelligence agents. With the information you gather, you can build counters to stop their units. You can also use the second type of agent, which are sabotage agents. These agents can destroy and damage your target's economy, buildings, and the units they are mobilizing, giving you an advantage over your opponent. Lastly, you can use corruption agents to steal and take resources away from your target. This will also hurt their economy, as they might no longer have the needed resources to produce or build anything. I added an agent guide video link in the description, so if you want a more in-depth video on how to use agents, then feel free to watch that video after we finish all these tips. However, a warning, do not go overboard if your economy cannot afford it, as each agent costs 10K to deploy and has ongoing maintenance costs. So make sure your economy can support this and that you do not kill your own economy by recruiting more agents than you can handle. Perfect. With that said, let's now move into the fourth tip. The fourth tip is to build bunkers. Now you may be thinking, what, bunkers, but are not they only to defend yourself from nuclear weapons? Well, yes, but they have a lot more benefits than that. First off, bunkers massively boost your morale performance, and higher morale leads to a better economy as the resource production in the city will go up, and the mobilization times of units will also decrease simply by building bunkers. Not only that, but building bunkers can also help you in war. Say your enemy sent a dozen units to attack your city, then in that case, you should build a bunker in that city. This bunker will help your units defending take less damage, which can be the difference between a victory or a defeat in a battle. Furthermore, not to mention the benefits of bunkers protecting your population from air raids or attacks. Hence, for all these reasons, I really do recommend you build bunkers in your homeland cities. Awesome. With that said, let's now move into tip 5. Tip 5 is simply to build local industries in your provinces that produce resources. Imagine local industries as arm industries where they can help increase the production of materials. However, you should only place these local industries in your provinces that produce resources. To know which provinces produce resources, simply search for a province with a material icon on it and see if it states a material production at the bottom. If it shows an income of a material, then that means that that local province produces materials and that you should build a local industry there. Building a local industry there will give you an increased 100% resource production, which is massive, more than arm industries. If you level up the local industry to level 3, then you can get an extra 200% resource production. Hence, make sure to apply this tip to level up your economy. Perfect. With that said, let's talk about the next tip. Tip number 6 is to use the patrol option instead of the attack option. There are several benefits to doing this. For example, when using the patrol option, you are able to hit multiple units, not just one. With the attack option, you can only attack one stack of units. However, with patrol, you can attack all enemy units in the area, dealing the same damage to each one. This allows you to eliminate enemy units way faster. Furthermore, when using the patrol option, you actually get extra range for free. For example, if you set the patrol just on the outer skirts of the circle, you will get the east side of the patrol as bonus range. Another amazing benefit of this tip is that the patrol button also allows you to defend locations, scout for enemy movements, and maintain map control or hold down a specific site. For example, you can use patrol to scout for any enemy units in a province, and if it finds some, it will automatically engage. You can also use this patrol technique to defend your city while you are sleeping. If you leave your air force patrolling your city, it will automatically attack any enemy unit that enters the helicopter or plane's range. Also, another insane advantage of using patrol is that if your airbase gets destroyed or sabotaged, your units will not die or disappear with the airbase like they would if you used the attack option. Instead, they will relocate to the nearest airfield, and if their patrol is still inside the new range, they will keep patrolling exactly where you set them. However, there are a few exceptions where you should not use this tactic. The first exception is if you are going AFK, because the enemy can send anti-air or planes to destroy your air force while you are not looking. The second exception is patrolling over Navy like frigates or cruisers, or over anti-air units like mobile anti-air or SAM launchers. The reason for this is that if your planes are patrolling and get engaged, the enemy will keep shooting until your unit is fully destroyed, since patrol units do not move unless you tell them to. The enemy's anti-air will reload and keep damaging your air force non-stop. In conclusion, when using this powerful tactic, just make sure you are active and checking in regularly so your patrol is not getting countered, and also make sure it is hitting the right units. The 7th tip is simply to build combat outposts in the front lines of war with your enemy. For example, if you are going to defend against the enemy's units with ground units in a ground attack, then it will be wise to build a combat outpost in the province where you will fight and bait them towards it. If you build this combat outpost in the province where you are defending off the enemy, then you will be more likely to win the battle and also lose fewer units. This is because when you build a combat outpost in a province, you reduce the attacker's combat strength in that province, as well as the basic population and morale, which will also help boost your defending and attacking strength. In fact, a level 1 outpost can remove 33% of damage from the enemy, and a level 3 outpost can decrease the enemy's damage by 65%. As you can see, this makes a massive difference, and building this building can be the reason why you beat your opponent. Hence, build combat outposts whenever you can when engaging opponents with ground units. Perfect. Let's now talk about tip number 8. Awesome. Tip number 8 is to simply build officers and pair them with your stacks. These units are able to add massive benefits to your stacks. For example, if you have a stack of 10 tanks which deals 100 damage, then it won't be anything compared to if you changed one of these tanks for a tank officer. Hence, if you had 9 tanks and 1 level 7 research tank officer, then now your new damage for this stack is 175 health points. The tank officer gives the stack a speed boost of 25%, an attack boost of 60%, and a defense boost of 40%. This almost doubles the capabilities of your stack, and also the tank officer himself deals damage. Hence, imagine all the benefits you would get if you simply had one officer for each stack you had. You would almost double the capabilities of your stack simply by adding an officer. This is an enormous tip that will give you massive advantages that rarely anyone knows about or uses. Hence, always take advantage of this enormous tip. Awesome. That's all the tips in this video. If you want more videos like this, then a like and subscribe will be much appreciated. Thank you.